Hey, happy Sunday, Yetis. Going to get you this information regarding our quarantine plan, what it's going to look like for the next week, and then how we'll go forward with talking about the end of quarantine and things like that. So, a lot of key information regarding instruction and ways that you can actually possibly end your quarantine earlier for the community and to get out into public. So, I'll go through all that right now. But before anything, we have to celebrate. We've had an amazing year. I think this is our first real quarantine that we've had all year. We had a little bit of a scare back a few months ago. So we have remained healthy and great, and everybody's been following the rules. So thanks for being amazing this year. All right, so just some key information. If you remember, we are one cohort, which means if we quarantine, it does affect our entire school. In this particular circumstance, it is a result of a probable COVID case due to close contacts with somebody who is positive, and then I think some symptoms that are going on. The last day of contact with the individual is on Tuesday, March 2nd. And so that kind of starts that clock of quarantine from Tuesday. And then a full 14-day quarantine would last until March 16th. However, we'll talk about in a minute, we might be eligible based upon public health, based upon you guys filling out your symptom trackers and things like that. We might be eligible for an earlier return. Okay. Is there anybody not quarantined? So I've been answering questions and texting with a lot of you guys who have asked me this. So here are the people that would not need to quarantine in this circumstance. So any scholar or staff member who is not in school on both Monday and Tuesday. Okay. So that would include our remote learners. That would include some of our seniors who do the CMC scheduling and things like that. But if you are not in school on Monday or Tuesday, you do not need to quarantine. The other one is that if you have been diagnosed with COVID in the past 90 days and you've kind of gone through your COVID experience, due to the antibodies and things like that, you do not need to quarantine. Okay, so I know that applies to some people. And then anybody who has received all of their required COVID vaccinations. So I think that only applies to one of our staff members, and that they have had 2 weeks gap since their last vaccination. So if you're in that scenario, that you don't need to quarantine either. Okay, so when does the quarantine going to end? So if we roll the full 14 days, which is the expected length of a quarantine for a school, we'll end quarantine March 16th and we'll return to school March 17th. As I say this out loud, I realize the 17th is a Wednesday, so we would return in person on March 18th. There is the possibility that we will run a 10-day quarantine, and that will be contingent upon you guys filling out your symptom tracker, us as a cohort remaining healthy, that we're doing okay, that we're not seeing an uptick in cases or something like that. But that's really up to public health. It's not going to be up to me. But if they say that we can end our quarantine after 10 days, we'll return to school next Monday, the 15th. And that would be the earliest, no matter what. That's the absolute earliest that a school can return, is after a 10-day quarantine. Okay. But you might be asking, wait a minute, I've heard about these 7-day quarantines. It gets really confusing, right? I've heard about these 7-day quarantines. Tell me about that. So here's the deal with the 7-day quarantine. It is not going to pertain to the school's ability to return in person. It is only going to apply to your scholar or our staff members' ability to go into the public, to go to the store, to go to the ski area, to go to their other jobs, things like that. That can happen after day 7 if you meet all of the following criteria. So that would be: 1, you have a negative COVID test. You go get tested. You get your result. You have a negative COVID test, and you test on either day 5, which is today, Sunday, or day 6, which is Monday, or anytime after that. Okay, so if you have a negative COVID test and you have had no symptoms whatsoever from last Tuesday until you get your negative COVID test back, you are good to go, and you would be off of quarantine for, again, only for the public and in our community, starting on March 10th. Okay. And then we would ask you to continue to monitor your symptoms, right, for a minimum of, for like 14 days after that last contact. All right. So if you have any questions about that, if you want to reach out to me, I can clarify. Hopefully that's all making sense. Okay. What about a 10-day quarantine? So it's basically the exact same thing, except for if you don't go get a test, and your scholar or staff member is symptom-free for 10 days, you can end your quarantine in the community on day 11, which would be March 13th. Okay. Again, a 10-day quarantine is the earliest that a school cohort can end their quarantine. And so we'll be working with public health to see if that's applicable. If it is, we'll be back in school on March 15th. Okay. So what's next? We're going to move to an online learning model. It'll kind of be similar to what we did between Thanksgiving and winter break. All right. So where scholars will have half of their day live with their teachers and half of their day on demand or asynchronous. So we are going to run our normal bell schedule, meaning that periods 1, 2, and 6 will occur on Mondays and Thursdays. Periods 3, 4, and 7 will be on Tuesdays and Fridays. Okay. We switched that up in November and December for our last period of time that we were remote. So we'll just stay, kind of the way we do things. You are familiar with this slide. You know these terms. Live, meeting live with a teacher online. On demand, hey, complete your work on your schedule as long as you meet it by the expected due date. So this is what our schedule here is going to look like, okay? So tomorrow, Monday, periods 1 and 2 are going to be live. Period 5 and 6 in the afternoon are going to be on demand. And then on Thursday, we're just going to flip that schedule. So Tuesday, periods 3 and 4 are going to be on demand. Periods 5 and 7 will be live. Wednesday will look no different. It'll be a regular day. And remember, if you do go through and you go get a test here anytime before Wednesday, and you've been symptom-free, and you get a negative test, you can go out and do your experiential learning. You can go to the ski area on Wednesday because you'd be off of a 7-day quarantine. All right. So Wednesdays will look very standard in the way we've been running them. Thursday, again, even if you're off on the 7-day quarantine, we will still be quarantined as a school. I just want to make it clear that will only apply to public and community interactions. Then we'll be back on the schedule. Okay. So we'll be on demand in the morning and then live in the afternoon. And then Friday, we switch that again. Okay. So on Saturday the 13th, we'll possibly end our 10-day quarantine. If that's the case, we'll be back in school on the 15th. If that is not the case, then we'll just kind of continue to mirror that on-demand and live schedule. All right. I'll make sure these slides are available below this video. No matter what, our quarantine will end on the 17th, and we'll have a normal Wednesday. 18th will be a normal school day, and if you remember, we're actually off school on the 19th and the 22nd, and so there'll be no school on those days. All right, so to see it in a, get rid of me. So to see it in a different format, all right, so this is what it looks like on the bell schedule with a little more detail. And again, you'll have access to this slide in the link below the video. All right, so this is broken down by live times, on-demand times for the whole week. Okay, what if you forgot something? We are going to open up the school with some of our staff members who are not quarantined, and you can actually arrive at the school between 10 and 12 or between 1 and 3 and pick up a Chromebook or pick up any items that you need to get. That's only going to be available tomorrow. If those times do not work for you, please reach out to me directly and or Miss Brenda, and we're going to set you up with a time that does work for you, and we'll set up an appointment where somebody can help you get your things. All right. And then, as always, we just want to make sure that you're feeling supported. Our counselor, Jen, is available for you. Also, Connor Catron, who is our district social worker, he is available for you. There's their contact information. And if you guys need anything, if you're feeling stressed, if you need to process through what's going on, both of them are an amazing resource for you. Okay, that's all I have. Like I said, if you need to set up an additional appointment to get anything out of the school, or if you need to contact me directly with any questions, this is the way to do it. There's my cell number, there's my email, and I welcome your contact and look forward to helping in any way I can. Yetis, you're amazing. It's been an amazing school year, and I am just so proud to be part of this learning community. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Have a great day. Thanks.